Hi, caregivers. I'm Donna Jackson, the Adult Caregivers Coach. And today we are with Jammie Lyell. Jammie is a program manager specializing in Social Security. He's actually their expert at AARP. And today's session is entitled Navigating Social Security. Are we near the end? Hi, Jammie. Welcome.
Hey, Donna. Happy to be here.
Yes. Jammie, um, tell us a little bit about your role there at AARP and what you do and how you educate caregivers and just the general population who are entering into, preparing for, or have already been in this space of needing guidance with their Social Security, just understanding how to maneuver through this, ever-changing Social Security uh, administration that we're faced with as we age.
Yeah. So a lot of my work is at the national level, but the communities are very passionate to me. Um, so I really look forward to working with our state offices, doing community engagement with the 50 plus with AARP, educating on Social Security, making sure our resources are factual and accurate and updated timely as well is something that falls within my realm here at AARP. I will definitely highlight some more. I have some bullets, an about me slide, if you will, within the presentation. Um, but yeah, and I also am the editor, sole editor for the Social Securities for Dummies book, fifth edition, that was released in September as well.
Oh, nice. Excellent. We'll have to drop a link to that below the presentation so people can take a look at that.
Awesome. Yeah.
But go ahead, walk us through this presentation. It's gonna be chock full of information, guys. So be sure to have a pen and paper ready and be ready to pause because going to be a lot of information you really need to know. So take it away, Jammie.
And thanks, Donna. So again, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me here with Donna with our presentation focused on navigating Social Security. Are we near the end? Um, Let me start again. Like I said, I had some bullets about myself as well that I got started. So I do have over 10 years of experience in Social Security education and retirement planning, and also psychiatric counseling, which is a little fun fact about myself. PhD candidate for public policy administration, and I do also possess a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology. I mentioned the fifth edition of the Social Securities for Dummies book, but I also am the author of the upcoming 100 question and answers to know about Social Security that should be released in January as well. But mainly, and in my work here at AARP, I really do love educating about Social Security because it really gives me the chance to empower AARP's members with the knowledge they need to navigate their benefits and just in the community as well. Ensuring fairness and understanding in Social Security is just so crucial. And being a part of AARP really allows me to make a positive impact on the lives of those who have contributed so much to our society. I do use some sport references. So one of my sport references is that I like to imagine Social Security as your financial defense. So just like LeBron blocking shots, it protects you from unexpected financial hits within retirement. As far as for my agenda, I will be going over what is Social Security for early and delayed retirement payments, Social Security and work, family payments, how to apply, some educational resources that's out there for you, and then also the popular topic, the future of Social Security.
Yes.
So I want to just start with the basics. Now, Social Security was created in 1935 in the aftermath of 1929, the stock market crash and the Great Depression. It is based on the concept of social insurance, which does mean that all workers contribute to the central trust fund managed by the government. And almost everyone, including myself, contributes to the Social Security Trust Fund. Those taxes are called FICA, F-I-C-A. And that does stand for Federal Insurance Contributions Act. It is tax paid by employees and their employers that funds Social Security and Medicare. So the current tax rate for Social Security is 6.2% for the employer and 6.2% for the employee, which totals a 12.4%. To be eligible to collect retirement payments specifically, a worker must have worked at least 10 years or have earned 40 credits and have paid Social Security taxes. Now, Social Security Trust Fund is used to provide payments to individuals who are retired, disabled, or are a survivor of a deceased worker. Social Security was always intended to be a safety net to provide some income. It was never intended to be the only source of income. Despite this, many recipients are using it for most or all of their income.
Wow, Jammie, I want to stop on that bullet right there. So, how did that happen? Because this is the first time I'm actually hearing it, that it was never designed to be the sole source of income. Because, gosh, that's the only way I've heard about it talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just the economy, just how the cost of living has gone up. In the past, back into the 1950s, there used to be 12.4 workers per Social Security recipient. But the future of Social Security coming at 2034, it'll be about 2.3 workers per recipient, which is a big difference. Which then also leads to the news of the trust fund and solvency and things of that nature. And I plan to also clear that up as well within the presentation.
Wow. And you're probably going to talk about this. Let me know if I'm jumping the gun here, but I wonder if it has to do with when it was established in 1935, people weren't living as long as they're living now.
That is true. We're all living longer. Some are reaching 90s, even 100s sometimes, and it's just a different way of living. I mean, buying a house back then was just completely different than buying a house now, and other things along those lines as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it in terms of this idea, especially in the United States, about retirement age. I know you're going to talk about that later, but
yes,
retirement age, and then living so much longer past retiring,
yes,
where you do have a viable income. So it's probably all these factors. My gosh, I have never thought about it this way. This is good to me, guys. I hope it's good to you as well. Keep going, James.
Yes. And with that, I will go into claiming at the earliest age, which is 62. Now, you can start receiving Social Security payments as early as age 62, but your monthly checks will be reduced. So waiting until your full retirement age or your FRA or beyond increases your monthly benefit. If you delay claiming benefits beyond your full retirement age, that's 66 or 67 up until 70, your benefit increases approximately 8% per year.
Wait. Let's drill down right there. Say that again?
Yes. So if you delay your Social Security retirement beyond your full retirement age, which is somewhere between 66 or 67, and I'll show a chart about that as well, your benefits increase 8% per year up until age 70. And I get this question a lot. Does it matter if I do an additional month or not? And each month makes a difference. It's about 0.667% each month that you wait, which adds into that 8% each year. So each month it can really.
But it maxes out at 70. Period.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Next will be your full retirement age, somewhere between 66 to 67. You can start receiving your benefits with no reduction, 100% of your calculated benefits. And there's no penalty here for claiming. And I'll also go for the break-even age. I like to use 78. A lot of people want to know what's the difference between claiming at 62 versus 70 once I get to a particular age within my life. And I like to use 78 for that. But this does come with some drawbacks that I like to highlight. You also want to consider your health and financial situation. Those personal factors really matter. And ultimately, how do you want to live in retirement as well will play a part in what amount you're looking to receive within Social Security. And I'm not a Medicare expert, but I do like to highlight that Medicare enrollment, if you are still working, when you're turning 65, make sure you reach out to CMS, let them know that you're receiving private insurance, so that way when you do decide to claim, you won't receive a penalty.
And what's CMS?
Center for Medicare Medicaid Services.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also delay until age 70. You receive benefits. You receive about almost 124% more in your benefits by waiting until 70. Those delayed retirement credits, they are called delayed retirement credits. Those are what we just previously discussed, that increase 8% per year. And it is a history. Understand your health. If you plan to live for a long time, this might be a strategy for you. You must wait until age 70, which is a drawback. So you would have fewer years to collect these benefits. But again, consider health, family, and your financial situation, because this is a one-time decision that once you make it, it can not only affect you, but it can affect your dependents and anyone else that will claim your Social Security, which I'll also discuss.
Mm-hmm. I like how you said, if you plan to live for a long time. I mean, like everybody like plans to live forever.
Yeah.
That's why this content that I like to bring you guys, it's critical, because most people don't like to prepare for this, and it's inevitable. It's one of the only things that are inevitable in life, is that if we continue to age, we're going to come to this. And so, guys, we have to change our mindset around preparing. And this is not scary. It's information that we need to make our latter years go better. So yeah, I think we're all preparing to live long, but the reality. So yeah.
Yes. And with that, I'll go into the chart that I spoke previously about. So this is the full retirement age chart that you can utilize to understand when your full retirement age is. As you see on the left, your birth. Majority of individuals currently are creeping up on 1960 or later. So that full retirement age would be 67. And anything before that, it will fall somewhere between 66 and some odd months.
That is so interesting. I didn't realize that it was charted out like this.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I do.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, and I do have a chart here for my visual learners, such as myself. So I have this example that we would assume that an individual claimed at that full retirement age, which for them would be 66, as you see there in the gray column, 1,900 per month. If this person had decided to collect payments at age 62, you'll see that monthly payment would have been $1,425. But if they would have waited, that monthly payment would be over $2,508. So really deciding when a claim is a personal decision that really only that person can make. Again, they want to consider factors such as health, their savings, expenses, and then how that decision can impact their family. I would like to highlight that. Remember that the impact of your claiming age isn't just on your own retirement payment, it also for
Interesting. Now, Jammie, so I'm wondering, how do we have these absolute numbers associated with these ages when everybody earns different amounts of money through their lives? Like, if somebody's a millionaire, are these numbers going to still be the same as somebody who, worked, very low level paying jobs?
Yes, and I will make sure to touch on that. It will be different. Social Security does take your highest paid 35 years across your career. So if you had a early career as a lifeguard, maybe at 16, but later into your 50s or 60s, you achieved a higher salary by then. Social Security does knock off those lower paid years and replace them with your higher paid years. So you get average 35. But with that, I will give within the presentation, I will make sure to highlight the wage cap, and that will really give the details as far as the difference between someone that might make 60,000 versus someone that might make
excellent.
$1 million.
Okay.
Will definitely give a difference. But what I feel like some are waiting for is the break-even case study that I would like to highlight. Two fictional characters. So if this is your name, I was just fictional characters. So I have two neighbors, Tia and Andre, both eligible for Social Security payments. Now, Tia decides to start at 62, which is the earliest possible, receiving those reduced payments. But with that, she's able to travel, pursue her hobbies, and enjoy that immediate income. But by the time she reaches age 78, she realized that her lifetime benefits are significantly less if she had waited. Well, we have Andre, the other neighbor. He waited until age 70 to start his benefits, and he receives larger payments due to delayed retirement credits. Although he must use like his savings, such as his 401k or anything else in the interim, by age 78, he has received higher monthly payments, and his total amount that he received surpassed Tia's, despite starting later at age 70. So both of these scenarios really highlight the trade-offs between early access to funds and long-term financial impact of your decision. So really pay attention to those independent circumstances for your decision.
So that is super helpful. And I don't know if we want to go this far into the weeds, but so I'm thinking the charts all mention the highest, the latest date was 70 years old.
Yes.
So then when we start talking about age 78 and the break even number, my mind kind of just I don't know how to process that. What does that mean?
Yeah, so that is the average 62 to 78 versus 70 to 78. This is the ages which the formula would determine the average amount that's paid out to that individual with expected life expectancy within the United States, that average. And then you come to that number of 78. You might see some other experts use 81, but 78 is a good rule of thumb that you'll see even financial planners use as well for that break-even age, to expect to live to at least.
Got it. Life
70.
expectancy. Okay, that's the piece I was missing. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And I have a short section here. I get this question a lot. Only one slide, but I felt it was very important with so many individuals looking to relocate. I want to just highlight that federal Social Security retirement payments do not change if you move from state to state. While these benefits themselves are federal, there are some states that also tax. And SSI, that supplemental security income, varies by state and government, the Social Security benefits, but you do want to let Social Security know if you're receiving payments and expect to be out of the country for more than 30 days. That can really affect your payment. So you can have a possible payment reduction if you do not notify Social Security that you're going to be out of the country for more than 30 days. And there are some countries that does restrict you to receive your Social Security payments, but those are more hostile countries and war zone countries, if you will. But if you're looking to move to Europe or Maine or Spain or anything of those regards, you can still receive your
Okay, you just have to notify them.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah. Then this is very well, so many acronyms, everywhere. But this is supplemental security income, SSI. And we say the same thing for Social Security insurance, SSI.
Yeah. It's
right?
a little
No?
different because you have the Social Security retirement, what most individuals are familiar with. But then you also have your SSDI, which is that Social Security disability insurance, which some people, it's very easy to mix up. I know when I first started at Social Security, SSI is for those individuals that have little to no income, very strict payment guidelines on how much you can make to receive SSI. And then SSDI, that disability part, is based on still your work record and how much you put into the system. And you have to also meet disability requirements for that as well.
Right. So when we receive Social Security benefits,
Mhm.
what's that called? Just
And that's where it gets kind of confusing. I'm happy you asked that question. So Social Security benefits is a very broad phrase. So you have Social Security benefits, you have retirement benefits, disability, and you have your SSI benefits, all coming from Social
okay,
Security.
that's good. So that's the big umbrella term.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep, you got it.
Thanks.
Yes, and I'll go into family payments. Now, when we're talking about securing your legacy, if you will, or planning for your future, for your retirement, you may not be able to predict that future, but with Social Security, it can really help protect your family from it, which really makes Social Security so good. Now, as I move into family payments, when you start receiving Social Security payments, some members of your family also may qualify to receive these payments on your record with certain requirements. So you have your children, your spouse, your ex-spouse, and survivors can receive Social Security payments on your record. And I'll dive into each.
Yes, and are you going to talk about the percentages that they receive? Like if they receive it, can you receive it at the same time? Can several people receive it at the same time?
Yes, I will.
Does it get
Go
split
into
up?
each
You're
one.
going to talk about all that?
I will. I get these questions so often. I make sure that I go over them each time. Yeah. So children payments. So the children of retired, deceased, and disabled workers can, in many cases, collect Social Security payments on their parents' record. Social Security incorporates children into its payment structure to ultimately help retirees with younger children provide for their families as a form of insurance when a parent dies or can't work due to a disability. Within the family, each qualified child may receive a monthly payment up to half of your full retirement age payment. That's 66 or 67. To be eligible, your child must meet certain qualifications. For the children to receive payments, they must be unmarried and under the age of 18, or 18 to 19 years old and a full-time student up to grade 12, or 18 or older and a disability began prior to age 22. But generally, the total amount your family can receive is about 150 to 180% of your full retirement age payment.
Wow. That's something I had no idea. Okay.
Yes. And next is spousal payments. Now, if you don't have enough Social Security credits that to get payments on your own work record, or your own retirement payment is really small, you may be able to receive payments as a spouse. It is important to note that if both you and your spouse are eligible for Social Security payments on your own records, Social Security will pay you whichever amount is higher, but not both. You cannot double dip. And eligible spouses can generally receive 50% of the eligible worker's full retirement age payment amount. Even if the working spouse collects early, the spousal payment will still be a portion of the worker's full retirement age payment. If you are still married, you only can file for a spousal payment once the working spouse has filed for their own payment. You must be married for at least 1 year, be at least 62 years old, and any age if the child you're caring for is under 16, or again, a child with a disability.
Okay. Whoa. Wait a minute. So one thing I honed in on there was, did you say the spouse, all right, the spouse of the person whose Social Security they're collecting, even if they retire early, the spouse can collect the full, like up to the 70 years age amount? Did I understand?
You're almost there. So the full retirement age, when I say full retirement age or FRA, that's 66 or 67. For anyone born or after 1960, that full retirement age will be 67.
Okay. So even if they retire early, the spouse will get the full retirement amount.
They'll get a portion. I want to highlight again,
50%. Oh,
if
that
you claim early, you don't only reduce your payment, you reduce the payment that your spouse or
oh,
children could receive.
that makes sense. Okay.
So it'll be 50% of the full retirement age included with the reduction that you could have possibly caused.
That is a good clarification. Thank
Yes.
you.
And I do want to highlight, I don't know if I put it on the slide or talked about it, but if you claim at age 62,
Mhm.
that's a 30% reduction in what you
Ooh,
would have received at 67 or 66.
wow.
So keep that in mind. And that reduction is for life, for
Yeah.
you and your dependents
Yeah.
on your
Yeah. Yeah.
record.
And Jammie, we're going to talk later about what to do now if you've already claimed it, right? Are we going to talk about that?
Yes, I'll go into working while having
Yeah.
Social Security, which
Okay.
is
Okay.
definitely another big topic as well.
Okay. Perfect.
But I can't talk about spouses without talking about ex-spouses. I know that's going to come up.
Ooh.
Now, your ex-spouse can receive payments on their former spouse's record if they were married at least 10 years. I would like to highlight that most marriages that do end in divorce in the United States usually end in 8 years. Um, Ex-spouses may file at any time beginning at age 62 and do not need to notify their ex-spouse that they have filed, and Social Security will not notify them that you have filed. I know that's a concern of some. Eligible ex-spouses can generally receive 50% of the eligible worker's full retirement age payment amount. Even if their former spouse collects early, the ex-spousal payment will still be a portion, with that reduction, of the former spouse's full retirement age payment. Ex-spousal payments do not affect the ex-spouse's payment amount. So just because anyone is claiming, and I'll highlight that across all situations, no matter who claims on your work record, your payment is secured. It's a separate bucket for any dependent. Um, and you're eligible to receive payments as an ex-spouse if you are if your ex-spouse receives his or her own Social Security payments, or they're at least age 62 and you have been divorced for at least 2 years, you are at least age 62 and you have not remarried. Now, these are specific to spousal payments with both individuals still being alive.
So that's either spouse has remarried.
Yeah, that is for the ex-spouse. Now, that's claiming on a work record. That
Ah,
other, the worker can get remarried, and the ex-spouse can still claim
it's still
if they
good.
were married at least 10
Ooh.
years. Yeah, I got a question about this a few weeks ago, and I had an interesting woman ask me, "What if I was married 3 times and each marriage lasted 10 years?"
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
well, first you had an eventful life, definitely. But second, you'll have options. You'll be claiming, and whoever one of those spouses had that higher payment, um, will be where you would land. So you would have options.
Oh, so you couldn't get it from all three.
Yeah, they wouldn't pay you all of them. That would be, I think, a new strategy for retirement if that was the case.
That's right.
But with
Whoa.
ex-spousal payments, I'll go into survivor payments next. Uh, and with
Wait,
survivor,
wait, 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 wait.
yeah,
One more question over there. One more question there. So,
okay.
um, uh, the spouses were married for over 10 years,
Mhm.
and now the um, the claiming spouse does not have to let the spouse know that they're going to be,
Correct.
filing for this.
Right.
But let's talk about the bucket of money that's available.
Got it.
Does it get divided?
That is a good question. Yes, it can be divided if there is
Oh.
multiple claims on within that bucket.
Well, let's just talk. Okay, I get that because there's a spouse and then there could be children.
Yes.
But let's just say it's just a spouse, just a
Okay.
just the next spouse, and the
Okay.
bucket. Let's just use round figures. The bucket of money is $100,000 in this fund.
Okay.
Does the ex spouse can get $50,000? Is that what this is saying?
Um. So let me use a different scenario so that way I'm following correctly. So let's say this person is receiving the worker is receiving 1,000, but their family maximum, which is the separate bucket, is 2,000.
Okay.
So then you have the 2,000 that's split up amongst the people that are claiming on the record. So if
Oh,
multiple ex-spouses claim on the same person's social security record, um, I'm trying to, I'm following the scenario. I'm trying to think.
they're pulling from that bucket of 2,000, not the
Yes,
1,000.
but and I want to make that. I want to make sure. So the multiple children
Mm-hmm.
will have to split.
Yeah. Okay.
Ex-spouses do not split each other's payment, because then at that sense, then someone would know if you claimed, if that was the case. That is something separate. So the ex-spouse's payments does not reduce the other spouse's payment,
And it doesn't reduce
the workers.
the workers' payments. Very
Yes,
interesting.
yes,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. And
Hmm.
going into survivor payments, completely different. Now, in the event of a spouse's death, a survivor can collect up to 100% of the payment the deceased was receiving or would have received in the future. And I say would have received because if this individual, I get this question often, would had died at 70 and didn't claim yet, that still will go into the formula for what you would receive. It includes any delayed retirement credits the deceased earned. And again, however, if it would also include a reduction if that deceased spouse claimed at 62. That's how it still affects everyone else on a record. Now, survivor payments can be claimed as early as age 60 or 50 if disabled. But how much you receive as a survivor or a spouse, it is based off of your full retirement age and when you claim. So if you claim these survivor payments at 60 or 62 or anytime before your full retirement age, you can then put another reduction if it was already a reduction. So it's important to pay attention to when you want to claim these survivor payments. And I would like to also highlight that dependent parents may also be able to collect if the deceased parent can show, the deceased's parent can show that they relied on that child for at least half of their support.
Oh,
And again, ex-spouses may be eligible as well. If the former spouse was at least 60, 50 to 59 if disabled, and they were married for at least 10 years, they will be eligible for these payments as well. Survivor payments are only reduced, again, based on when the survivor payment itself is claimed. In many situations, a surviving spouse can continue to collect on their own record to allow for that survivor payment to grow. And this is only a strategy for survivor payments, not
yeah.
spousal payments that sometimes get a little bit confused. The
Hmm.
survivor is still subject to the earnings limit. So if they haven't yet reached their full retirement age and continue to work, um, there are some earning limits to how much you can receive under your full retirement age. And I'll make sure to go over those as well.
Hmm.
But before I go into any more, it's a little bit more to survivor payments. Now, if you're already receiving spousal payments and your spouse unfortunately predeceases you, you should automatically be switched to survivor. But if not, you want to call this 1-800 number that you see here on the slide, that's 772-1213, or visit the local Social Security office. I would say make an appointment. Wait times are very up there. They're about a month out
Mm.
currently. But there are some special circumstances, so no length of marriage requirement if the death was accidental or occurred in the line of U.S. military duty. And with survivor payments, you actually can get remarried after the age of 60, and it will not affect your payments. So if you get married after the age of 60, and I'm pretty sure you might have some questions for me, Donna, or some highlights. So I'll just put this chart here to put them both side by side so you can kind
Yeah,
of really see the difference.
that is really good. All right, guys. You know what? I know I have a lot of questions. I'm sure you do. Pause it and take this information down. This is so good, Jammie. Thank you so much. And this might be on this chart or something. I just want to just make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say when um, if the owner of the Social Security payment dies before they claim, before they even put in a claim, the amount that the survivor will get will depend on when the survivor claims. So if the survivor waits, they're going to get a max of a more, more, regardless of when the deceased person passed, because they had not yet claimed.
Yes, and that's even for spousal payments in general. That spousal
Okay.
claim is going to be based on when that particular spouse or surviving spouse claims, what age
Okay.
they're claiming at. And I'll go into those reductions more. I know I
Mhm.
touched a little bit on working and receiving, but I believe that is the next section, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Great.
great. And then applying for Social Security. There are several ways you're going to apply for Social Security. With any of these options, you can apply up to 4 months prior to when you want to start receiving your payment. Keep that in mind. You might see online 3 months, 2 months, same month. You can do whatever option you choose, but you can apply up to 4 months before you actually want them to start. You can do it online with the My Social Security account, which I recommend is very useful. You want to have that if you don't,
Mhm.
so you can keep track on uh, Social Security, see statements, replace a Social Security card. I believe now they allow you to view your Social Security number in my Social Security account. Usually, that's what you need to do things. You need that Social Security number. Sometimes you usually don't need the actual physical card.
Mhm.
That was their thought behind it. You also 1-800 number, and then again in person at your local field office. So you can use that link to locate um, your closest field office. And next would be work duration and eligibility. And I'll go right into it now. Um, with work duration, I want to just highlight this. This is something the Social Security Fairness Act of 2025 that was passed earlier this year. It repeals two provisions: the windfall elimination provision, also known as WEP, and the government pension offset, also known as GPO. Now, these provisions previously reduced Social Security payments for individuals who also received a pension from jobs not covered by Social Security, such as teachers, firefighters, and police officers. And this new law actually impacts approximately 3 million current retirees, their spouses, ex spouses, and surviving spouses. Um, yeah, so if you
Woo.
worked in a public sector job and received a pension, you're more likely affected by this. So the law is retroactive to January 1st of 2024. And Social Security has completed processing the benefit adjustments under the Fairness Act. Those individuals would have received a lump sum. I get this question often. What if I worked for the government, didn't pay into Social Security, and then went back to like private sector or nonprofit, and started paying FICA taxes or paying into Social Security again? What happens to um, their 35 working years that Social Security uses? And Social Security won't reduce your payments, but those years that you didn't pay into Social Security will be represented by zeros for the year for
Mhm.
your payment into Social Security. But all isn't lost. It's your average 35 years. So you
Mhm.
can really, if you are able to continue to work or make an income later into your career to make up for those zeros, you can replace those zeros with higher earning years
Mhm.
if you can. And another reason why it's important to set up that My Social Security account and really look at your yearly statements and pay attention. Make sure that, I mean, they receive it directly from IRS, but you want to make sure that everything is accurate.
So just so I understand this, with the repeals of these two programs, in a in a nutshell, does that mean just across the board, um, people's monthly amounts were reduced?
Yeah, so before this was repealed, you could see your Social Security payments reduced by up like almost to zero um, under these provisions, and then the government pension offset would also affect the spousal benefit that spouses would have been receiving that could possibly be zero. And now that's no longer the case. No more reductions. Now it's still based off of those years you paid into the system, regardless if you had a paying pension or not.
Okay, so maybe I'm being really thick. Because I just when I see repeals and all this stuff and just know what's going on,
Yeah.
does this mean that monies that these government workers would have received before January 2024, before that,
Okay.
they no longer have access to it? That money has been taken away from them?
So it was a reduction. So to explain it, it was a reduction. So you wasn't receiving, let's say you should have been receiving 1,000, but after reductions, you only received 300. If that was happening from January 1st, 2024 to this year, they would give that money back that they withheld, that extra money back to you, going all the way back to January 1st, 2024, but not going back any further than that.
And how long have they been taking that money out? For more than a year?
Oh yeah, the government pension offset I don't have my history timeline in front of me, but this has been in place for quite some time
Oh, wow.
that was affecting a lot of individuals, and that were very concerned about it as well. So on January 1st or 14th, no, January 14th, I think President Biden, his last act was to sign this Fairness Act.
Oh, so this is a good
Yeah, this means more money. This is a good thing.
Okay, see, guys, I'm trying to cut right to it for you. This is a good
this
thing. 'Cause I'm
benefits
like,
everyone.
things are getting repealed and pushed back and taken off. So when I see repeals, I'm like, what I didn't realize is what had been in place. So that's okay, perfect. So this is a good thing.
Good thing. It's a great thing. Yes. Moving forward, understanding Social Security credits. So you can earn up to these 4 credits by working, and they're based off of your total wages and self-employment income. So 1 credit for every $1,008.10 in covered earnings. But you don't have to earn them all in a quarter. You can earn them all in a month, even if you make $7,240, which is equivalent of that $1,008.10. Those 4 credits. This was put into place, and also known as the 10-year rule, also known as 40 work credits rule. So 10 years of work equals 40 credits for eligibility. And the eligibility is different depending on which benefit. So you have your retirement, which is 40 credits, disability, 6 to 20 credits. And then for survivor, payments for spouses and children of a deceased person who earned at least 6 credits.
Okay.
So it's different on how many credits are needed, depending on which benefit you're applying for. And then maximizing these credits. How do you maximize your payments or your way to getting these payments? You want to make sure that you have at least 10 years of work, regardless of your income. And then the impact this will have on your payments or questions around that is extra credits do not increase your payment amount. It's just that set amount. Your average earnings over these working years determine your monthly payment. And I will go over that on how to maximize that. And I get the question often, so what's the maximum Social Security payment that anyone can receive this year? And I'll make sure to highlight that as well. Now, collecting Social Security while working, big topic. Everyone wants to know. Now, before you claim your Social Security benefits, before your full retirement age, so before 66 or 67, you should know that if you claim early and continue to work, you may be subject to what's known as a Social Security's earnings limit. Now, in this scenario, your benefits will be reduced by $1 for every $2 you earn above the earnings limit. And this increases the months prior to reaching your full retirement age. So it's 2025. Let's say that you're returning your full retirement age in December. This will increase the months prior to reaching December. So your benefits are reduced by $1 for every $3 you earn above that limit. And I would like to note that these limits adjust with inflation yearly. And probably you're like, what's the earnings limit? So in 2025, the Social Security earnings limit is $23,400 for people who have not reached that full retirement age this year. And if you are reaching it this year, that limit increases on how much you can make. So it's 62,160 for people who will reach that full retirement age during the year. However, if you do claim your Social Security retirement benefits before your full retirement age, some of that benefit and the reduction will be returned to you in a form of a higher monthly payment after you reach your full retirement age. Once you reach your full retirement age, the earning limits no longer apply. So you can work as much as you want, and you won't have to worry about these reductions out of your Social Security payment.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next slide. And I want to just talk about taxes on Social Security payments. That's important. So up to 85% of payments may be taxed depending on your combined income. So you see here for individual filers, if you make anywhere between that, up to 50% may be taxed on your Social Security specifically payment. Ooh. Above 34,000, up to 85% of your payments will be taxed. A little bit different for joint filers, 32 to 44, up to 50. And if you're above 44,000 as joint filers, up to 85% of the Social Security benefit will be taxed. And you do have the option to withhold these federal taxes from your payments to avoid owing them later. You can get that off the IRS website. And I would like to highlight here, I don't know where you're tuning in from, but there are some states, about 8 or 9, I think it's 8 now, that still tax Social Security at the state level. And I'll just give just 5. West Virginia, Kansas, Connecticut, Colorado, and also Missouri. Some of the states that's on that list that tax.
So double taxed. You're taxed twice.
Yeah, so you were taxed to put it in and you're taxed to take it out. That has been talked about removing this, but I will say Social Security is a pay-as-you-go system. So this is in place because they feel that, and everyone's situation is different, but what their understanding is that if you're collecting your Social Security payment, let's just say it's $2,508, you're collecting $2,500, but you're still making $60,000 or above $44,000, then they feel like, well, then you should also try to place some of that money back for the other individuals, the other citizens that are also collecting or will be collecting soon, since you're making this amount of money on top of having a Social Security check.
So that you make a good point there. So I was always under the impression that when you paid into your social FICA, the FICA tax,
yep,
that was for you and you alone. But are you saying that this is a communal bucket of money?
Yes, we all pay. I pay, you pay, we all pay. And then we pay currently for people that are receiving Social Security because we're working and they're not. So we're helping put that money into the fund for everyone. And then when you retire, then, the future generation will be paying into that system to help make sure that these payments go out, and we have reserves and things of that nature. So we're all helping each other in retirement.
Well, that is wonderful. That's probably the best news I've heard about this all day.
Yes.
When I hope this doesn't get taken away, because that's what this whole thing is about, helping other people who are worse off in a worse position than you are. So, oh, that's good to know. Okay.
Yeah. And so next I'll go over payment limits and then a little bit about the future of Social Security. So next will be payment limits. I talked about that wage cap. So one thing you need to keep in mind is when you're estimating your Social Security that you're going to be receiving, you receive from Social Security, there is a cost of living adjustment, COLA. Each year, that amount you receive from Social Security will be adjusted for the most part to account for inflation. So for 2025, cost of living, that COLA is 2.5%. And that averages out about $50 in a raise for the average Social Security payment. Additionally, it's important to consider that currently there's a wage cap on taxed earnings. So in 2025, that means that workers only pay FICA taxes on the first $176,100 of their income. So if they make $1 million, you stop paying FICA taxes at $176,100. And then at that point, you will be looking for a refund because you have paid over the FICA taxes.
Okay.
So what is the maximum payment? Now, it does depend on your average income over the 35 years, cost of living adjustments, and other factors. But as we talk about retirement age versus maximum payment, now, as you see at the bottom in these last three bullets, if you retire at full retirement age, 66 or 67, in 2025, the maximum you could receive. That means you're reaching that wage cap of 176,000 over 35 years, or whatever that was each year that it was established. You can possibly receive $4,018. Retiring at age 62 this year, maximum of $2,831. If you could afford to wait, opting for retirement at age 70 in 2025 will yield a maximum of possibly $5,108. So you can see when you claim can really make a difference.
Nice.
Again, and this is just a summary, if you will, calculating these maximum payments. So your full retirement age, keep in mind that if you claim payments early at age 62, that means less money. Retiring at 70 maximizes your payments. Those 35 working years to receive the highest payout, you want to work for at least 35 years. And the earnings during these years really impact your payments. And just a little bit more of what we already covered. So in 2025, that limit is 176,100 on your limit on earnings, subject to Social Security, FICA taxes. And to maximize your payments, if you're looking to maximize them, retire at age 70, assure the maximum taxable earnings for 35 years, and fill in the gaps and increase income to optimize your payments. And I myself am not a mathematician. So if you're looking to estimate your Social Security payment, here are some resources to get an estimation of what your Social Security payment will be. AARP also has a Social Security calculator that is free to use. You have one on SSA.gov. You have this 7004 form that you can fill out and mail to Social Security as well for a statement. You can call. And if you don't have a MySSA account and over the age of 60, you will receive your statement in the mail 3 days before your birthday. 3 months, before your birthday. Any questions for me, Donna, before I go into the future of Social Security?
Yes, one quick question. This is just some random trivia, I guess. Is there any significance to the numbers assigned to each individual's Social Security number?
Now that used to be. You used to could look at someone's Social Security number, and certain digits will identify what state they were born in, what zip code, and what field office did that Social Security number. But now Social Security has moved away from that. So it is randomized. So that can no longer be the case because that was starting to become an issue and scammers were figuring it out. So Social Security moved away from that. And now your number is randomly assigned. I will say, I didn't mention it, but I'm a father of twins. And both of my twins, their Social Security numbers look completely different.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And then a follow-up question on that is, are Social Security numbers redone? Like after somebody passes away, is there like a certain amount of time that they would revive that number for a new person, or never?
So our Social Security number is like revivable, if you will, for other uses, for like someone else. Or I know some individuals just ask after they pass, they use the Social Security number on like currency or something like that.
Oh,
I know that's a possibility. I'm trying to think if I actually have seen, because I wouldn't have seen someone reuse it. But usually for the most part, I want to say they're not reused.
Okay.
From my experience as being at Social Security, once they're assigned to a person, it's permanently linked to them, even after death.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I think about it, the question about if they were assigned in a specific way, Social Security also did stop reissuing Social Security numbers decades ago, and that was in identity confusion and fraud. So they did
Hmm.
do away with that as well.
So now you don't have numbers anymore?
Well, we have numbers, but they don't reissue them.
Ah, gotcha. Got it.
Like
Got
you
it.
pass, and then I don't know, 30 years later, someone else has that number
Yeah, yeah.
now,
No,
like
no.
cell phone numbers. That Social
Hmm.
Security doesn't
Hmm.
do
Okay,
that
good.
anymore.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we are getting close to wrapping, but this segment has been so incredible. It is chock full of information, you guys. And I hope you are pausing because it's going to be tough to consume all this at once, right? But
Yes.
I know we're kind of in our final wrap. So, Jammie, let's keep going.
Yes. Yes. I will skip a little ahead. Um, I want to just highlight AARP's principles on protecting Social Security.
Hmm.
Um, I'd like to highlight that AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. And we have developed these guiding principles in our fight to protect Social Security to align with our mission. So AARP believes that any proposal should finance Social Security for the long term. Social Security should continue to provide a stable foundation for retirement income, protect those most in need, and any proposal should make improvements to address the economic and demographic changes over the last 90 years so that Social Security can meet the needs of future beneficiaries and their families. Any proposal should continue to reward work and payments and ensure that workers' payments are clearly defined and cannot be outlived and are protected against inflation. Any of these changes to Social Security should protect current beneficiaries and those near retirement and be made gradually and fairly. I will go over the solutions really quick. I know we're coming up to the end. So there are five proposed solutions to protect Social Security. Congress is likely to arrive at a combination of these. AARP calls for Congress to use its regular legislation process and make that decision sooner than later. So for the first solution, you might have seen eliminate or raise that wage cap that we discovered or talked about. 176,100 of wages. So removing this cap altogether or setting it higher will bring more money into Social Security. And now what's the potential impact of this option on the funding gap? And I'm talking solvency in 2034. And I guess I will stop there really quickly. When you hear solvency, it means Social Security isn't running out of money. It's just the reserves. So even when 2034 comes around, Social Security will still continue to make their payments, but they will only be able to make 80% of the 100% of those payments. And AARP and all of us would like them to continue to keep making 100% of what we earned, not a portion.
Yeah.
So it is some pros and cons of this one. One pro, removing or increasing the cap would significantly increase the revenue for Social Security, potentially closing a large portion of the funding gap. It could extend the solvency of Social Security for several decades at least, but there are cons to this one. It's a partial solution, so eliminating or increasing the cap alone would not fully solve Social Security's long-term solvency issues. And in addition, without corresponding payment changes, these increased contributions at the high end will result in very large Social Security checks for high income earners. Like Donna previously asked, what about the millionaires? Well, how much will they make? Well, if we make this change, some checks will be really high,
Wow.
which is one con.
Wow.
Um, and I know, and I have four more really quickly. So we have increased the payroll taxes. Currently, employees pay that 6.2 each for the total of 12.4. So we can gradually increase payroll taxes. And this could possibly fill anywhere between 25 or 50% of that gap. But in the pro of this, of course, is raising the payroll tax rate would significantly increase the funds available for Social Security and help close the gap. Since payroll taxes are paid by both 183 million current employees and their employers, a relatively small 1 to 2% increase could really make a big difference. But the cons of this is taxes have a higher impact on the economy. So higher payroll taxes could reduce disposable income on workers and increase labor costs for employers. And that will potentially impact economic growth and employment. And that could be a significantly bipartisan political opposition to this, to increasing payroll taxes on all workers and their employers, even if only on higher earners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and let me just make sure. Oh, yep. Oh, I think my selection 3 might have slipped by me in my presentation, but I know what it is, and this is reduced payments for higher income earners. That slide did slip through, but if you do that one and you try to only change it for higher income earners, the pros of that, of course, those higher earners will pay into the system, bringing those higher salaries and payments in. But again, that will face that opposition. Those higher earners would not want to pay more than anyone else. They will see it as being unfair, and that can really, really divide a
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
Um, and then let me just go into the final one of 5 really quickly. Um, as we discussed earlier, Social Security itself is self-funded through payroll taxes. No other funds, including the general fund, are used to pay Social Security payments. So this solution proposes using other funding sources to close the future funding gap, using money from the general fund for Social Security, taxing other forms like investments to include workers who do not earn income through wages. Creating a private market investment fund has been tossed around to help fund Social Security. The pros of this, of course, is using general funds will provide a quick source of funding for Social Security without Congress having to make a politically difficult choice for raising taxes or cutting payments. But the cons of this is diverting money from the general fund will increase the federal deficit and reduce funding for other programs, or possibly both. And again, this one would face significant political opposition because it involves substantially adding to already high debts and deficits, or reallocating existing resources from other priorities.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to fit that in really quickly. I know it was a lot. I want to
Now this
thank
is,
you for sitting through
oh,
my presentation too.
Jamie, this is amazing. Thank you again so much. And guys, we usually try to keep these around 40, 45. But I told Jamie, give us everything, because this is so important. So many of you have asked for this content, and I'm just so happy that Jamie was able to come and deliver it just in excellence today. Listen, frequently, take breaks to try to consume it. And Jamie, let us know, you know, what what other things that you might be doing in this space. AARP is an amazing advocate for all of us who will be, encountering this and other seasons as we age. So,
Yeah.
so grateful to have you. Anything you'd like to share with the listening audience about what's next for you and other things you might be doing there at AARP?
Yeah. Next for me is to start my PhD program in public policy so I can really, really understand how these policies are created
Excellent.
and hopefully be a thought leader and have even a more bigger impact within of our communities. I'm also doing a virtual seminar tour currently with all our states at AARP. You can look on aarp.org as well under our event section, and you can possibly find anything on Social Security. If it's Social Security, it's most likely featuring me. Um, and then outside of that, if you're in California, I'm usually at the KLJH radio stations, conferences, Black Men Summit, or Women's Health Expo in May of next year. So you can definitely find me. Also, find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. You'll see more of my work there too.
Oh my gosh. Well, that is impressive. And just I want to encourage you to continue in this work. It is so needed. And you are a voice of change. So thank you so much. All right, caregivers. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.